For the first time, there will be no group communique signed at the G7 meeting, with host leader Emmanuel Macron saying nobody reads them anyway. It's an indication that leaders of some of the world's wealthiest nations don't expect it to be smooth sailing at the summit over the weekend. And there is another unpredictable player now at the table.
Boris Johnson is not leaving it until the G7 to try to get a new Brexit deal. A meeting with Angela Merkel was followed by another with the French President, who said while he is open theoretically to a renegotiation, nothing that isolates Northern Ireland will be contemplated, meaning, effectively, the stalemate remains.
I understand your desire to protect the integrity of the single market. Of course we understand that. But we think that there are ways of protecting the integrity of the single market and allowing the UK to exit from the EU whole and entire and perfect.
Most of the country's leaders attending the G7 are involved in Brexit, but every nation is caught up in the US-China trade war. There is sympathy for the issues Donald Trump is pursuing, but it seems unlikely the US president could be urged to temper his actions amid the global market turmoil.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning because we're the piggy bank. We're the one that all these countries, including the European Union, wants to rob and takes advantage of.
Perhaps it's no surprise then that Emmanuel Macron has taken the unusual step of scrapping the final communique for this year's G7, preferring to rely on so-called informal conversations and agreements.
You know, because of what happened in Canada when Mr. Trump, the American president, kind of blew things up by not signing the final
got on the plane and got out Twitter.
Yeah, and so they have decided no final communique just to avoid that same kind of disastrous conclusion. But that's not much of a conclusion. The
French president is being more ambitious around trying to ease tensions between Iran and the US. Emmanuel Macron has met with Iranian officials before this G7 meeting, trying to figure out what sort of compromise they might be willing to offer on the nuclear deal. The problem for him is Donald Trump, on the other side of the fence, is instead trying to build more resistance within the Strait of Hormuz. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has pledged Australian military support for safe shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, but Australia's position is also to support the nuclear deal, making it a delicate diplomatic issue in any of the PM's meetings here at the summit. At the G7, Tom Connell, Sky News, Biarritz.